There are infinite timelines in the multiverse. But in one of them, Dr. Stephen Strange never became the hero we know. He didn't guard reality. He corrupted it. This is the story of how the Sorcerer Supreme became the Destroyer Supreme, the most feared being in all existence. It began the night Christine Palmer died. But not in the way you remember. In this timeline, the car crash didn't just break Strange's hands, it took her life instead. And that loss shattered something far greater than bone. It shattered his soul. He blamed himself. He blamed the universe. And eventually, he blamed fate. At first, he searched for peace. He traveled to Kamartaj, learning from the Ancient One, just like before. He studied every spell, every forbidden text, desperate to find a way to reverse death itself. But where the other Strange stopped, this one kept going. He learned that time could heal wounds, if one was willing to wound time itself. So he began to experiment. First, small things, moments, objects, then entire days, until finally, he tried to resurrect Christine. The Ancient One found him standing before the Eye of Agamotto, channeling its power far beyond what was allowed. She tried to stop him, but Strange was beyond reason. "You taught me that time can be rewritten," he said. "I'm just proving you right." He unleashed a spell so powerful it cracked the sky above Kamartaj. Reality itself trembled. The Ancient One struck him with the full force of her magic, hurling him across dimensions. But even as he fell through the void, Strange was smiling. Because he had seen something, a path, a way to cheat death forever. He awoke in a realm darker than shadow. A place filled with whispers. A place where time stood still. The dark dimension. There, he met a voice that slithered through the air like silk. "You seek to undo death," it said. "Then you must become death itself." It was Dormammu. But this time, Strange didn't challenge him. He listened. Dormammu offered him knowledge beyond mortal comprehension. Spells that could bend causality, warp space, rewrite life. All it would cost was his soul. And Strange accepted. When he returned to Earth, everything had changed. His cloak was black as night. The Eye of Agamotto glowed crimson. Even his voice carried an echo, like the universe itself feared to interrupt him. The sorcerers of Kamartaj sensed the corruption immediately. Mordo drew his sword. Wong prepared for battle. "Stephen," Wong said quietly, "whatever you've done, you can still stop this." But Strange only smiled. "You think you can stop me?" he whispered. "I've seen the end, Wong. It isn't judgment that saves us. It's control." With a single motion, he tore the Sanctum Sanctorum from the streets of New York, lifting it into the air like a temple of doom. The world had a new guardian now, but he wasn't guarding it from danger. He was the danger. Days turned into weeks. The world began to change. Reality flickered, reshaping itself under Strange's command. He removed diseases, erased famine, stopped wars before they began. At first, the people worshipped him. Then, they realized the truth. No one died without his permission. No one lived without his blessing. Free will was gone. The Avengers confronted him. Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Thor, they stood united in front of the levitating sanctum. "Strange," Tony said, "I get it. You lost someone. We all did. But this isn't fixing anything." Strange looked down from above, eyes glowing like dying stars. "You think I'm doing this for her? No. I'm doing it because someone has to." He raised his hands. Reality rippled. The Avengers vanished, each trapped in their own looping illusion of happiness. A mercy, he called it. A prison, it truly was. Wong, the last remaining master, gathered what few mystics he could. They tried to reach him, to reason, to fight. But Strange was beyond redemption. In his arrogance, he absorbed ancient entities for more power, Shumagorath, Nightmare, even fragments of Dormammu himself. He became a cosmic chimera, a god of forbidden magic, and with each spell, his humanity burned away. In the mirror dimension, Wong faced him one final time. The air shimmered like broken glass. Wong's voice shook as he said, "You're not Stephen anymore." Strange looked at him, sadness flickering in his eyes. "Maybe not, but I am what the world needs me to be." He raised a hand. And with a whisper, erased his oldest friend from existence. But something was wrong. Every soul he consumed, every law of nature he broke, began to unravel reality itself. The dark dimension's power was eating through the multiverse. And even Strange could no longer contain it. His body cracked like porcelain. His voice echoed like thunder across dying skies. But even then, he refused to stop. If the world must end, he said, then it will end my way. And so began the rise of the dark Strange, a god, a tyrant, and the end of magic itself. But deep inside him, somewhere beneath the power and madness, Stephen Strange still wept. The world didn't end that day, but it wished it had. Under the rule of Dark Strange, Earth became something unrecognizable. A place without sickness, crime, or war, but also without choice. He had rewritten the laws of nature itself. Births were controlled. Deaths were scheduled. Even the concept of dreams had vanished, erased from every mind that dared to imagine freedom. To the people, Strange was no longer a man. He was the architect, the one who decided reality's shape. But not everyone accepted it. Not everyone forgot what it meant to be alive. In the shadows of a silent New York, a rebellion formed. Led by Wanda Maximoff, the Scarlet Witch. She had felt the ripple of Strange's dark magic across the multiverse. And she knew the truth. He wasn't saving the world. He was devouring it. Her power, the raw chaos of creation, was the only force that could stand against his control. She gathered allies, Spider-Man, the heart that never quit, Dr. Doom, the mind that matched Strange's cunning, and even Ghost Rider, whose hellfire burned hotter than the dark dimension's flame. Together, they became the Circle of Chaos, the last free sorcerers and warriors on a world bound in order. Their first encounter with Strange was not a battle. It was a warning. He appeared before them in a shimmer of distorted light, his cloak flowing like smoke. "You think chaos can fix what logic perfected?" he asked, voice calm, terrifyingly calm. Wanda stepped forward, her eyes glowing red. "Logic doesn't cage the soul. You did." He tilted his head slightly. "I saved them from themselves. From endless suffering." Spider-Man clenched his fists. "Yeah, by turning Earth into your personal screensaver." For a brief second, the Sorcerer Supreme smirked. "Your humor, Parker, one thing I almost missed about humanity." And then he raised his hand. The air turned to glass. Time froze. Everyone but Wanda was paralyzed, caught mid-motion, trapped in a single instant. "Chaos magic," Strange said softly. "The one thing I can't fully predict. That's why you interest me, Wanda." Her voice trembled but stood firm. "You're not a god, Stephen. You're just scared." He smiled. "I was. Once. But fear is a teacher. And I have learned everything." Then he vanished. The message was clear. He didn't see them as enemies. He saw them as inevitable casualties. Over the next weeks, the Circle of Chaos struck from the shadows. They disrupted his reality anchors, freed cities from illusion, destroyed fragments of his dark sigils that kept humanity under control. But Strange was always one step ahead. Every spell they cast, he countered before it finished. Every plan they made, he seemed to already know. Until Doom realized the truth. "He isn't predicting us," Doom said. "He's watching us. Through time itself." The Eye of Agamotto, once a relic of protection, had become a cosmic surveillance engine. Strange saw every timeline at once, shifting between futures like turning pages in a book. To defeat him, they needed to do something unpredictable. Something mad. Wanda smiled faintly. "Then it's time we break the book." The Circle's final strike came during the eclipse of reality, the moment when Strange's power reached its peak as he aligned all dimensions under his control. They infiltrated the levitating Sanctum Sanctorum, now transformed into a cathedral of light and shadow, surrounded by floating runes and ghostly watchers. Ghost Rider's chains blazed through the first barrier. Doom unleashed spells of science and sorcery combined. Spider-Man webbed across collapsing debris, carrying the others through crumbling portals. And there, at the center of it all, stood Strange. He floated above a glowing sphere, the heart of his dominion, containing the captured souls of an entire planet. You came all this way, he said, eyes closed. Do you truly believe you can unmake what perfection looks like? Wanda's voice cut through the silence. Perfection isn't life. Then she attacked. Scarlet energy and eldritch light collided. Reality rippled outward. The room shattered into a storm of dimensions, each wall showing another version of the world. In one, Strange was still a surgeon. In another, Wanda was raising her children. In another, the Earth was gone entirely. They fought across realities themselves, twisting through time and space like brushstrokes in a mad painting. Spider-Man tried to pull Strange's focus, webbing at his cloak. Ghost Rider swung his fiery chains, shouting, "Feel the judgment of the damned." But Strange was untouchable. He summoned spectral hands the size of towers, pinning them in place. He turned Doom's armor against him. He even froze Ghost Rider's hellfire mid-burn. Until Wanda did the unthinkable. She stopped fighting. "I know why you're doing this," she said softly, lowering her hands. Strange paused. "You lost, Christine. You thought if you controlled everything, you'd never lose again." His voice broke, just slightly. "I had to. Do you know how it feels to fail the one person who gave your life meaning?" Wanda stepped closer. "I do." Her eyes shimmered with pain. "And I learned that love isn't about control, Stephen. It's about letting go." For the first time in eons, Strange hesitated. The sphere of souls flickered. Voices whispered within it, millions calling out for freedom. "Let them go," Wanda said. "Let her go." He reached out toward the sphere, and for a brief second, his humanity returned. Christine's voice echoed from within. "Stephen, this isn't who you are." A tear slipped down his face. But then, another voice whispered, "Dormammu's, the dark dimension's master, still fused within him. Do it, Strange. Without them, you are nothing." The conflict tore through his soul like fire and ice. He screamed. The room exploded in light. And when it cleared, Wanda stood alone. The sanctum was gone. The circle of chaos vanished. And Doctor Strange was nowhere to be found. All that remained was a single line burned into the stone floor. Order is mercy. Chaos is pain. But Wanda knew the truth. He wasn't gone. He had ascended, somewhere far beyond the reach of time, preparing for something greater, something worse. The true war of the multiverse was about to begin. The world thought Doctor Strange was gone, but he wasn't. He had simply stepped beyond the edge of creation. For months, silence blanketed the multiverse. No sign of the dark Strange. No tremors in magic. No distortions in time. Until one day, all the stars began to flicker. Across realities, worlds started vanishing. Entire dimensions blinked out of existence. First, the dark dimension itself imploded. Then, universes with no connection to Earth, gone. Vanished without trace, as if reality itself was being deleted. At first, the living tribunal assumed it was a cosmic imbalance. But when the Watcher peered deeper, he saw the impossible. Doctor Strange, reborn as something new. No longer a man. No longer a sorcerer. But a concept, a being made of logic and dark light. He called himself the Logos of Order. And his mission was terrifyingly simple. Erase imperfection. Rebuild existence in one perfect image. The first to confront him was Dr. Fate, the Lord of Order from another world. He appeared before Strange in a realm of collapsing stars. "Your hunger for perfection will destroy everything," Fate said. "You've become what you once swore to fight." Strange turned, his eyes now twin spirals of galaxies. "Destroy? No, Kent Nelson. I'm curing the multiverse." He raised a hand. The helm of Naba trembled. Reality bent around Fate as Strange's power overwhelmed even the forces of the Lords of Order themselves. "Order belongs to me now," Strange whispered. And with a gesture, he disassembled Fate, turning him into a stream of pure symbols. The fall of Dr. Fate sent shockwaves across dimensions. The cosmic pantheon gathered, eternity, infinity, the living tribunal, the specter, and the one above all's emissaries. They debated how to stop a being who had rewritten the laws of magic and reality. But before they could act, he came for them. The tribunal tried to pass judgment, three faces glowing with infinite power. Stephen Strange, you stand accused of cosmic treason. But Strange merely smiled. I am not on trial, he said. I am the verdict. With one spell, an impossible equation, he silenced the tribunal. 3 faces. 3 judgments. Gone. The universe shuddered. The balance had been broken. And so began the war of the multiverse. Worlds collided. Pantheons burned. Across infinite realities, armies of gods, mutants, and sorcerers rose against him. But he was always ahead, rewriting the battlefield, bending outcomes before they began. He created mirror warriors, reflections of the greatest heroes, dark versions of Thor, Captain Marvel, Scarlet Witch, and even Superman, all bound to his will. Each universe that resisted was folded into his design, stripped of choice, merged into what he called the singularity of order, a single perfect timeline. To most, he was death, but to himself, he was salvation. Yet, deep inside that perfection, something stirred, the one soul that could still reach him. Christine Palmer, the echo of her that had been trapped within his spell long ago. She whispered through the cracks in his perfection. Stephen, is this peace? And for the first time since his fall, he hesitated. He looked upon the endless harmony he'd created, every being silent, every life synchronized like a clock. And he realized it was empty. No laughter, no tears, no hope, just balance. The one thing the universe had that he didn't was chaos. And without it, everything was lifeless. He stood before the cosmic heart he'd built, the core of order, a swirling sphere made of 1 billion souls. Christine's voice echoed again. You wanted to save us. But who will save you? He fell to his knees. The light around him began to dim. The dark energy he'd harnessed all these years screamed, trying to hold control. Dormammu's influence, still buried deep within, hissed, You can't stop now. You are the law. But Strange whispered, Then let the law die with me. He raised both hands and began to chant the final counterspell, a forbidden ritual meant to collapse his own creation. The multiverse shook violently. His mirror soldiers shattered. The core cracked open. For the first time in eternity, chaos returned. Wanda felt it first. From her hidden sanctum, she sensed the restoration of free will ripple across time. She looked to the sky, tears in her eyes. He did it, she whispered. He finally let go. But the spell had a price. Strange's essence, his soul, was torn apart, scattered across infinite timelines. In one universe, he became a whisper of warning. In another, a guiding spirit to a new sorcerer. And in the farthest realm, a single glowing eye appeared in the stars, watching silently. Some say it's his punishment. Others believe it's his redemption. But all agree on one truth. Doctor Strange saved the multiverse by destroying himself. In the end, the tale of Dark Strange wasn't about power, it was about obsession. A man who loved too deeply, fell too far, and learned that even gods can't control destiny. Because perfection without freedom isn't creation, it's a cage. And sometimes, the only way to heal reality is to break it first. If you enjoyed this dark what if, hit subscribe, because next time, we explore what if Iron Man found the Infinity Stones. You won't believe what he builds with them.